Hello everyone, it's Peter here, Piotr Fissner from Inte.Team. Guys, today we've got a Sony amp. Let me pause and let's check what's wrong. So this is a Booking 1475. It's a Bluetooth speaker, part of the Sony soundbar equipment. Yes, and as we see, problem is subwoofer is not turning on. No lights at all. Now, this subwoofer came to us with the soundbar, and as always, we're trying to diagnose, and we always trying to give two routes for the customer. Yes, so one is cheaper, waiting on parts. Things can go, of course, wrong if you can't find exact match of the exact component, or if you can get the component but it has to come from China. Or we can try to go to our supplier or eBay and find the fixed board. Yes, so here I've checked and the power supply section works fine. Okay, so we should get 18 to 24 volts, which we have, and this has to go to the subboard, logic board. Okay, now here on the connector to the power, to the main, to the switch, power switch here, okay, we should get 3.3 volts, and we don't. Okay, so because you don't have this, most of the time is an IC responsible for the no power. So if you've got standby voltage here, it's produced by the power supply, then it's okay. Now what you need to do is you need to find component responsible here. Now our supplier has 4 ICs for this, and if customer will agree, I will order the motherboard, but I will order as well the IC, the one which power comes from this button, like this here, yes, to that IC. I will check which IC it is and I will order it, because we can replace that IC and have second board for spares. Of course, if that IC is not programmable, because if that IC is programmable and we can buy it empty, there is no point of doing this, because we won't program it. Yes, we would have to then go and then extract the data from the known good IC and try to copy that data onto this brand new empty IC. That's where the problem is with those electronics. You can find the fault, you can find exactly what's wrong, you can find troubleshooter. Okay, so let me switch to the view mode on my screen, and we can see here that point number 2, on standby lamp LED does not light up. Yes, light up after AC in, power is not turned on. So on standby lamp LED does not light up. That's our case. Okay, power is not turned on. In that case, yes, that's the case. That's what's happening here. So the voltage is following is 18 volts to 24 volts, which we know because that's a regular in those subwoofers and so on. So if you fix them, you know it. Yes. Switching regulator 3L411L or W, or that depends. American version might vary from different one. Yes. Then connector 101 pin 1, 2, 3, and 7 need to give us a good reading. The 18 and 24 volts, which in our case does. Yes, if yes, and that's our case, the voltage of the following is 3.3 volt, and where it is, it's on the sub main board, which is the logic board. Yes, connectors CN801 pin 7. Okay, if no, replace sub main board. As you can see, Sony doesn't go for the component level repairs, just, you know, replace the board, will be fine. And is it okay, I would ask? No, it's not okay. It's not fair. The customer could have proper fault by replacing just the component, but they know it might be programmable and then they don't want to give the program. So in that case, why they would share, and why they would, you know, like, risk breaching of the contract with repair shops, which are contracted Sony repair shops, which is fair and not fair at the same time, you know. It's a, I would call it a gray zone. Okay, now am I right? Is it programmable? I don't know, but we can check. If the customer will agree to order the board, I can try to order the chip, and if I'll replace the chip and we will see that this still doesn't produce 3.3 volts, then we know where the problem is. Okay, we know how to replace the chips. We can replace the chip. That's not a problem for us. But if it's programmable, then that's a bummer. Now, what else can be done if that chip is programmable? Okay, that depends how this IC is burned. Because if the IC is burned the way that you can just supply standby voltage and this will suddenly wake up, then that's fine. But we don't know what is faulty in the IC, so it's, you know, it's a guessing area as well. Okay, sometimes because something is faulty, I like to just voltage inject and check. Yeah, sometimes they are waking up, and sometimes I'm asking customer, you know, like, do you want a full fix, replace the whole board, or do you want to make a Frankenstein? Yes, so we can then create additional switch. For instance, when you switch it on, it's permanently on, but the stuff is working. Yes, so as long as it's then pairing because of the Bluetooth module, because it's later everything okay, then some customers saying yes, some customers saying no. I've checked, the board is about 33 pounds or 35 pounds, yes, to be bought, so it's not that dear, but the IC would be, you know, pennies for them to sell. So let's say few quid. Okay, they could send it programmable with a blockage to not copy it, with you know, with features that could prevent from copying the chip. Yes, and they could send the chip. Why they are not doing? Because it's easier to replace a whole board, because it's easier to not teach a technician to become an engineer. And some of the engineers, like boiler engineers, they don't even replace components. Yes, they don't. They just do. And electricians and other people, you know, we exaggerated with the name engineer. But to be true, is it really engineer? If can't reverse engineer the problem, if can't go on the component level, I would say that it's an installer. Yes, that's what I've done here, is installer's job. That's lower than technician. Okay, then after installer, so those engineers, yes, which can't operate on a component level or under the microscope, then it's a technician. Okay, then it's like an advanced technician which can somewhat reverse engineer the problem, but not yet fully understand all the concepts. Yes, that's how I see it. You can argue otherwise, but I want to call it a day. 8 minutes video. Hope you find it understandable and hope you see my point of view. In the ideal world, what we could do is we could create that board, which then could have additional board in the sound bar. They could communicate each other, and we could just swap the boards. We could reuse power supply, we could reuse all case, we could reuse the other parts on the you know, on the sound bar. Yes, but because we can get spare parts from ASWO supplier, then we can replace on the board. No point to reverse engineer, or no point to redesign the board. Yes, thank you guys for watching. See you in the next video. Bye bye.